Hello, guys. Hello. Welcome to Dr. Kelly's office hour. And look, I cannot multitask. Okay. So I am doing this both on Instagram and Facebook. If you have a chance, you can catch me on both. Okay. I'm trying this. Okay, guys. So bear with me. So uh, the my question to you is that the Calvary is not coming the way they told you. The Calvary is not coming the way they told you. I hope you guys can hear me. Okay. You know how I know that? It did not come to for my mother on time. Okay. So again, I'm doing this both on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm trying this. But I want to play something first. Okay. Yeah. So again, I don't know how to play guitar. Okay. I don't know how to play guitar. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. I do not know, but you don't have to. You don't have to know how to do something to enjoy it. Okay, guys. So thanks for joining. I am truly excited to do this. Again, I'm doing this both. I'm gonna try this. Okay, I'm doing this both on Instagram and Facebook. I cannot multitask. Don't if you're not good at something, just come right ahead and admit it. Okay. If you're not good at something, just come. I cannot multitask. So I'm trying this. Okay. Again, I'm Dr. Kelly. I am a board certified psychiatrist, and I am here to talk about the mental load of Black women like you who sometimes feel you have the world, who sometimes feels you have the weight of the world on your shoulder and you cannot find space to breathe so you can live your best life. So you won't have to sacrifice your life, um, while you're taking care of your obligations. Okay. First, uh, um, housekeeping stuff. Okay. So for the focus group, I am organizing a focus group. I call it the ultimate guide to Black women's. By the way, if you have questions, answers, this hour, Dr. Kelly's office hour, is for you to ask any questions concerning mental wellness, concerning thriving. This is for you, Black women. Okay, Black women between 35 to 65, and women in general, because I have taken time to talk to you in my office, and let me get my brain here. And I know that the things that you're going through, sometimes you don't talk to people about them. You cannot talk to the people closest to you, and so that's why I've dedicated my career to make sure that what happened to my mother doesn't happen, and countless Black women that at that time you didn't have the tools. We didn't have the tools to know how to deal with chronic stress. So that's my mission. So first thing, the focus group I'm organizing. Last Thursday I did the first part. Let me be clear, okay, guys. The first part was I was happy, excited to have 400, almost 400 people that showed up on the Zoom call. But the first part is because you show up, that's the first step of being selected. The 10 people to ultimately be selected for the focus group. The 10 people to ultimately be selected for this focus group, that's the first step. Okay. You showed up and I said everyone gets a reward. The reward that you got is I sent you the eight supplements, anti-inflammatory, stress busters, supplements that we all should be taking in today's age. Because you know why it's important? We now know that uh, all disease processes, mental and physical, cancer, fibroid, disease of the gut, all illnesses. Actually, we know that, but now we know how the science. We have more evidence of that. That all disease processes have some inflammatory process. So, because of the environment we have changed, doctors, neuroscientists, scientists have said that there are 8 supplements that we think that can be beneficial for all of us to take. So I sent you a list of the supplements. The ones are including magnesium glycinate, vitamin D3, 125 micrograms with vitamin K2, 100 microgram, because vitamin D3, we find out that it's required for the proper absorption of vitamin D3. K2, vitamin K2 is required. So 125 microgram. I take 250 microgram of vitamin D3. Oh, what's my vitamins? I have like 12 of them here. But you don't do what I do. I have the stomach of a cow. Okay? Nothing hurts me. So don't take them all at once. So it's let me write them down. It's magnesium glycinate. Okay? 400 milligrams to 500. Vitamin D3, 125 micrograms to 250 micrograms per day with vitamin K2. K2 is 100 microgram. And I take, we know it's important to take vitamin methyl B12. Methyl B12. Okay, B12, the one that's most absorbable, most readily bioavailable, what we call it, is methyl, methyl, methyl B12, 5,000 microgram. Then it's very important to take B complex. I take B complex 125, any B complex one per day. Then you take a multivitamin. If you're a woman, take a multivitamin for women, and men, you take multivitamin. So those things. So I take zinc. I take, you can take all these things, but the the ones that are most important is um vitamin K2, D3, magnesium, omega 3. I take 2,000 to 4,000 omega 3, but not all brands are equal. You need to Google the top brands and consult your doctor if you have any reason you shouldn't take them, and consult your doctor. Okay. So, omega 3, turmeric. I was talking to a patient of mine. This guy is around 60, very hardworking guy, but he's a veteran of the 82nd Airborne, and he had severe he has had several operations in his spine, and this guy lives in chronic pain. He lives in chronic pain. And I'm making sure that I'm looking at people both on Facebook and on Instagram. Okay. He lives in chronic pain. He lives with his partner, and he was a little bit incredulous, like I was. Yesterday I was talking to him. He said, "Man, this thing is powerful." I said, "What? Which one?" He said, what the name? What's the name?" I said, "Which one? Omega 3? Vitamin D?" He said, "No." I said, "Turmeric?" He said, "Yeah." He's been taking turmeric 1800 to 2700, and this guy is finding relief. He doesn't have chronic pain. And I have to tell you, before I have a torn limb playing soccer. It was swollen. I couldn't sleep. I actually did not believe. I'm a skeptic by nature. I did not believe in these things. And I started taking 4,000 milligrams of omega 3, a good brand, Nordic Natural. I take 2,700 of turmeric. Those are the two I mentioned too. And I take vitamin D3 with K2, 4, B12, 5, B complex, 6. I take a multivitamin, 7, and I take a probiotic. Reason why probiotic is important because we now know the gut is implicated in all major illnesses. So gut health is important. In fact, we call the gut in medicine the second brain. So, but I'm not gonna tell you. You can take some of the other ones. Some days I do take selenium, zinc, but again, I'm telling you, I have the stomach of a cow. You cannot. You have to consult with your doctor. Do not do what I do. But if you want to try them, consult with your doctor and try them one at a time. And the other thing that for anxiety, magnesium glycinate 400 milligrams with ashwagandha. I have to write them down while I'm telling you that. There are a lot. Okay, with ashwagandha. Then I have my cabinet here. You see all this essential oil. I have this. I have this all. Everything here. Okay, everything. I have like. Uh, you don't want to see my cabinet. I have a whole cabinet of like around 20 supplements. Anything from NAC to alpha lipoic acid, but that's another. That's another. For another time. So I sent you those eight supplements, and I sent you the well-being resilience index that actually I invented it for Black women, and I am in the process of creating a biotech company, which I'm in the process of getting an NIH grant. That's in another time. But so I sent you the well-being resilience index, 5 questions with the 8 supplement. That's what everyone gets, and thank you for showing up. Now the second process is to book a call with Dr. Kelly. Okay, book a call with me, a free consult, 20 to 30 minutes, a free consult. But in order for you to do that, you have to write 100 to 300 words specific to say what are your specific stressors, what are the nature of your stressors, is it financial health, family, mental and physical health, stuff like that. Then how urgent. So guys, you're asking me questions. The second step in the process of being in the final selection, that's the second step, is to book a call. My assistant will reach out to you. So book a call through uh, using the email. You can use this email, Cholet, C like in cat, H like in hat, O like in ocean, L like in Larry. I'll put it, I'll put it in the chat. I'll send you. Actually, it's in the chat form. If you go to my link tree, the link tree on Instagram, you can find my website, my clinic website, mindbrainbody.net, and you can find the information. Send me the information. Book a call with Dr. Kelly by Monday, and to also accompany with the request for the call for the free consult, you will be sending a summary of 100 to 300 words stating the nature of your stress, specific stresses you have, and also how urgent you need to get help. Please, that's what I'm saying. That's the second step. Okay. The second step again is to book a call with Dr. Kelly, a free consult, 20 30 minutes. That's free. And if you wonder, my hour is $500. Okay, $500 my initial consultation. That's per hour. There are places I go when I go to my doctor when I do holistic medicine. I pay $1,000 per hour. There is like one of the best gastroenterologists. She's actually on Instagram, and I have some of my loved ones. She's a gut health doctor. I am sending them to her. Her initial consultation is $1,000. So mine is 500. So I'm giving you 20, 30 minutes free consultation, but you need to accompany writing it with 100 to 300 summary, a word summary of what are your specific stresses, what is the nature of your stresses. Is it moderate, severe, or above 10, and how urgent. That's the second step. Please, if you do that, do that by Monday, and my assistant will get in touch with you. Her name is Miss Radlin, and will and the 3 days I will be getting calls. You can book my call. Is the 3 days are Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and give me 2 time slots so we can be flexible in fitting you in. Okay, so I hope we're good in that. Going back to what I was saying, so um, today's session, that's one thing I'm doing every Saturday, is I call it an open office hour. If you have any questions, comments regarding stressors that you're dealing with, please, you can send me an email. Look into my link tree, or you can send an email to Dr. Josue, Josue at mindbrainbody.net, or you can go to my website, mindbrainbody.net, and you'll see the information, the number, the phone number, and the email for you to send me your information. I'll talk to you. Okay. So going back to what I was saying, I've seen a lot of women in my office, and it helps me to realize, picking back on what my mother went through. By the way, I I've had people when I said, "Look, I am uh, helping black women," and when I start mentioning about their pain points, they're like, look at me incredulous, like as if, what do you understand about the pain point of women? Please don't tell me that, because look, when my mother was suffering, I was not a uh, passive actor. I was an active. I was one of the passengers. I was in the passenger seat. So please don't tell me that I don't understand how what women are going through, what black women are going through. I mean, I may not have first primary knowledge of that. But when my mother suffered, when your mother suffered, they don't. We don't. Young women or parents don't suffer alone. So, of course, I have some experience, secondhand experience of what it's like for her to have been going through that. So I don't have to, you know, to prove that I understand the pain and suffering one as a human being. But anyway, that's my pet peeve. Okay. So I just want to let you know that we understand, and if you take times to understand what women are going through, the mental load that black women are going through, it doesn't mean that we understand firsthand, of course, but we do understand. We do understand. Hopefully, that's why some of us are becoming intentional in creating space to making sure that you can live your life at the same time you carry out your obligations. So that's the thing. Um, the thing that what I was mentioning today is, I was thinking this morning, a lot of the patients I see, and of course we have been told, you have been told stuff that maybe some of them were well intentional. They were people mean well, but maybe with the changes of time, with the changing of time, they're no longer serving you. And so that's why I mentioned that, hopefully you realizing that the way they say sometimes the Calvary is coming to save you. What I'm saying is that the Calvary is here. It may not be in the form that you think of. The Savior probably is here. It may not be in the form. What I mean by that is that in order for you to thrive, to live your best life in the 21st century, with all the resilience, courage, um, incredible strength, wisdom, knowledge that you as a black woman you have to understand how your brain works. So that's what I want to talk to you. I want to bring attention to. You have to understand how your brain works. It's no longer enough to have faith. It's no longer enough to have wisdom. It's no longer enough to have knowledge. All that is absolutely indispensable. But in the 21st century, time is requiring that you have a little bit understanding of how your brain works, because the reason why we have changed what everyone is talking on Facebook, on Instagram, and social media. How can you know get to the place? I don't know. I guess everyone can say something, but where I'm coming from, what separates from what the other people are telling you, we have changed time. We have changed times. When I tell my patients, I ask them that, do you know that we have changed times? And they say, what do you mean? Meaning that we have changed the way human beings used to live. We no longer have the same village the way I grew up in, and that's major. We have changed uh, how we eat. We have changed. We have introduced social media. We have introduced AI. Here's what you need to know. Anytime we change the economy, we change the environment. This brain of yours, this brain and mind of yours has to adapt to the new place. And so the brain has evolved over hundreds of thousands of years to keep you safe and protect you from physical danger. Fast forward in the 20th century, 21st century, you no longer have prehistoric animals that are waiting to eat you and your family. But the brain still sees things that appears to be stressful as physical danger. That's very important to know, because we things are moving so fast in the 21st century. And sometimes you feel overwhelmed as a woman, as a black woman who truthfully carry the weight of the world on your shoulder. You are the backbone of society. And black women like you, black women, the one I was raised with, the one I see in my office, you have to do less with more. And that can sometimes makes you feel a little bit overwhelmed, feeling exhausted, stressed out. Guess what? You're feeling stressed out, you're feeling overwhelmed is valid. You're not making that up. You're not making that up. Those are real physical things in the brain that the brain has been wired that way. So don't blame yourself because you cannot do the last two or three things out of the 100 things you've done. Unfortunately, sometimes you have been conditioned to link your worth with productivity. And sometimes you can feel guilty. It can make you feel inadequate, that you're not able to do one or two things, that you don't have all the wisdom for other people that you have to carry. It's not a thriving way to blame yourself. You have to realize that we have changed the environment. And now, with all the things, the mental load that you have, the brain may see things as being stressful. Here's the good news, where I say the savior is here. Now we have the powerful brain tools to help you deal with that. Okay? To help with deal with that. The most powerful brain tools we have is breath work. Breath work. Mindful self-care. Mindful self-care, because what it does, your brain's by default is on fight or flight. It's on the fight or flight. That's great because you're being productive. You can do the great things, the awesome things that you're doing. But to prevent you from that part of the brain from being paralyzed by feeling overwhelmed and stressed out, 2 or 3 times a day, you have to transition from the fight or flight to the rest and digest. In the fancy name, we call that the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. The practical way is saying that This is one of the reasons you cannot do number one and number two, if you understand what I mean. This is one of the reason you can try it. By the way, they say only a hyena can eat, can chew while they're running. But you cannot do that properly. If you do it, so this is why you cannot run, you cannot eat while you're running, because the brain is on two different systems. But it's very important. The way to thrive is to incorporate mindful self-care. Mindful self-care is that space, that breathing space that you deserve to sit so you can rest and digest. And the reason why it's so powerful, once you sit in it, the brain is relaxed. That's the only time you can see clear, you can see clearer to visualize your best life and to manifest it into reality. Because the brain cannot do things or rewire itself or maintain your health or be creative to maintain your finances or to maintain your relationship. We need that. That's rewiring or wiring. The brain is hard. It's harder for the brain to do that if it's stressed out. That's powerful. In my mother's days, we didn't know that. So the way to thrive is to connect mindful self-care daily in your daily life, 2 or 3 times a day. You can use. I have You can use lavender. You can use lavender, lemongrass, which is the my favorite one lately. You can combine smell, a good smell, relaxation smell, with a positive affirmation. You can sit some in a place quiet. Then you can read your positive affirmation. Take You can do deep breathing. That's what it does. It actually connect the mind and the brain and the body. What we what we now know, I think, as a if you're a spiritual person, that's the main way of connecting yourself with the deeper part of yourself and the mystery of the world, the universe. That's what I mean by maybe the savior is here and we don't see it. It's really, if you cannot, it's harder to get a deeper sense of yourself if the mind and the brain and the body are not connected. We now know the best way to connect them is but to breath work, deep breathing, mindful self-care. Then that's the only time you can thrive, you can see things clearer. Then it's easier to work out, to have the vision in your what you have visualized for your life, to manifest them into reality without risking your health, without risking your finances, and also to maintain the proper relationship. So that's the most powerful tools, because we've done experiment. We put people's brain in the MRI, and we realized that when the person is stressed out, the tissue of the brain is rigid. When they do meditation, they take deep breath. It The brain becomes the tissue. The brain is relaxed. The tissues are relaxed, and that's what we realize. Okay, does the most powerful way to deal with things that are going around you to prevent you from becoming chronically stressed, feeling overwhelmed. That way you can thrive. Then you will have a better way of not sacrificing your health, your finances, your the relationship with yourself that you deserve, and the people you care about while you carrying out your obligation. That's the most um the thing that I see human beings, especially women, struggle with all your mental load, the things that you have to do, that you're the only one that can do them. Um, children from 0 to 8 don't only go to their mother most of the time. So you know the whole thing I'm saying. But that mental load, the way to thrive is to incorporate mindful self care into your daily life. So, as I mentioned, and if you wonder why I think I am uniquely qualified to help you, Black women, who, as I said, carry the weight of the world in your shoulder and being the backbone of of society. Why am I uniquely qualified is because one, of course, I I am a board certified psychiatrist, neuropsychiatrist. About 85% of my patients are Black women for the past 10 to 12 years. And it comes from a personal experience with my own mother, who became a young widow when she was like in her mid 30s. Yeah, mid 30s. And she had to raise 5 children. What happened in those days when you got married, you have to, as a woman, you have to automatically by default give up your job, your profession. She was a seamstress. Then she became a young widow, homemaker without any profession, taking care of 5 children between 6 months and 8 years old. And that the mental load eventually led to chronic high blood pressure and eventually end stage renal failure, kidney failure, and that's premature death. Okay. So that's where that's how I know that I'm uniquely qualified to help you. And sitting with Black women for the past 8 to 9, 8 to 10 years, listening to you, understanding your emotional life, the things that may be obstacles in your life. So, and just as important, I am a graduate of the one of the only 4 Black medical schools in the US. I am a graduate of one of the only of the only 4 Black medical school in the US. We only had 3 during my time. It was Meharry Medical School, that's in Tennessee, Howard, that's in DC, and Morehouse. Morehouse is in Atlanta. That's I'm a graduate of Morehouse. And now we have Drew University Medical Center. So that's what makes me uniquely qualified to be able to understand your emotional lives and to be able to help you to hopefully create the free space that you need, that I do in my office, to and to think that to help you believe that you deserve to live your best life while you carry out your obligation. And I have to tell you, so my faith in what I'm doing, the reason why I'm passionate about that, I have several, but this past week I have 2 women, 2 of my patients. Both of them have been married for 30 years. They have 3 children. Both of them actually have 3 children. Both of them have 3 boys. Both of them have, and they're different. They actually don't have the same background. Both of them have 3 boys in the same age range. One of them is a nurse, one of them works for Verizon. But all of them have the same mental load. Children, uh, partner, and families, relationships. But here's the most important thing. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that it's really hard keeping up your health, your physical health, while you're taking care of everything. So the reason I'm saying that is, so I started working with them. The nurse, she actually started nurse practitioner like 2 years ago. She's been a nurse like for 20 years. She started going to do a master in nurse practitioner, and she got discouraged and she dropped it. When I met her, she started going back to school without telling her husband. And next month she's graduating in August. Next month she's graduating and finishing her master without him knowing. What I'm trying to say is that this is my I'm a skeptic as a scientist. Until I saw that in my office, I read that about neuroplasticity, meaning that the ability that you have to rewire your brain. I actually didn't quite believe it. And this lady last week, I saw her on Monday, and she said, "Can you believe that I am graduating next month?" And I had goosebumps because I realized, okay, if the average person like you understand that you have the power within you to rewire your brain to live your best life, to create the space that you need to breathe, to rest and digest, then the people who are controlling the rest of the world would not be uh, would have less control. And it's easier said than done when you grow up in families and people, women. Every day, someone is trying to chip away at your self-esteem, at your sense of self, without knowing that we do that, right? And so that's my biggest proof that we actually have it. And the reason I do it because I see these women. They come, I tell them to bring a notebook and a pen. Even when they don't believe me, they bring the notebook and a pen and they start writing down things. And the nurse is finishing a master, and the other lady, she actually, we sat Wednesday, I think Wednesday, we came up to a conclusion. She said, okay, I need to go back to school after 28 years, because she went to an HBCU. She met her husband, and one thing led to another. She dropped out of school in the third year, and 28 years later, she she showed up to my office. She said, I was just about becoming resentful when I showed up to your office, because when you see you have helped people, you have been given every day, and this frontal brain is becoming depleted of returns, dopamine. But what's worse, you actually your health is being affected. So I'm gonna tell you, I realize for women, black women like you, who sometimes you say, you know what, I have to help my children first. I want to tell you one thing you should make sure that you write down. If you help your children, which as we as evidence, 99.99% of the people you've helped, they will not be able to give you back what you gave them. I didn't give that. I didn't give anything to my mother. Even the people, even if they're there, of course they're going to live their lives. They're going to get married, have children. I mean, they have a job, they have a house. The way I say it is that I've worked in all settings in medicine. That's the one time I was working in a chronic health settings, and I started noticing that the the people who are there, of course, they're older age. When their family comes, I didn't know at that time that to have a decent assisted living in the U.S., a decent one, you have to pay at least $10,000 a month. And I've been asking people, do you know anyone, any children, any child who has that money save up to give to you when you're ready to rest? So meaning that if you are are taking care of your children and you said, you know what, and it's true, you probably cannot um you probably cannot you probably cannot do everything at one time, but you have to make it a sacred obligation to keep up your health. Because if you keep your health, when they finish, like, get out, when they get out of the house, they're living their lives. If you keep your health, then you can pick up right where you left off in a couple of months, because health is wealth. I know that from a fact. When I got to the US at 15, and at 21 my mom died, what one of the things, besides I was raised in a good place that give me the behaviors and habits, but if I had the reason why I'm here, because when I had to hustle, not sleeping for 3 4 days at night a time, I had good health, so I could hustle. So whatever you need to do as a black woman, if you say that, you know what, I have to do what I need to do for my children. They're in high school, they're in middle school, they're in elementary. So I have to put myself in the back burner. And for sometimes you know, there are seasons for everything. But you have to make it a sacred obligation not to give up your health. So I was talking to one of my patients yesterday. She's a young lady in her 30s. She's she has 2 children, a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. She's married. She's doing a master. And we were talking yesterday. Her One of her children is having her tonsil taken out, and we were talking. What we came down to, I was talking to her. I said, "How do you what are you going to do in the next 2 weeks? Because you need that space to breathe while you're taking care of a child that's recovering." And she said that her health is being affected. Her health is being affected. She's young. And as we know, the reason I'm passionate about this, according to not only from my own personal story, according to the American Heart Association, about 60% of Black women older than 20 have some form of heart disease, and 1 out of 2 Black women will have a heart attack or stroke. You will not know that until it happens. The good news is that it doesn't have to happen if you incorporate mindful self-care into your daily life, but you have to write it down. I have my clarity on the wall. You have to write it down. You have to you have to actually, that's what I'm talking about. You have to understand how the brain works. You have to merge it. Oh my God. My God is here. I my line. Jeez. Can I get my card? I let me get my let me fix this. God. I okay. So um you have to tap into the how the brain works. Mm, yeah. You have to tap out how the brain works. You have to the way the brain works, you have to identify your core values, 15 to 20 of them. And I've come to that that number because human beings are more complex. The last time when I did 5, uh, the more comprehensive you write, you don't have to. They don't have to be perfect. You don't have to live up to them. You have to attach what you're trying to do to your core values and write down the rewards. And write down and put it in front of you with 2 or 3 places where you can see it every day. Because when things are hard, that's what when you look at your core values. So meaning that you have to make it a sacred obligation not to give up your health. If you cannot create the financial stability or the company or whatever advancement, career advancement that you need to do now, and you feel like you are taking care of things, people that you cannot do it. So um so that's what I'm doing, guys. The goal is to make sure that Black women like you are thriving, because the conclusion is that if you are not thriving, then the rest of us cannot thrive. So if you if you have any question, you don't want to put it here, send me an email. Look at my link on Instagram. You can link up to my clinic website, mindbrainbody.net, or you can send me an email at Dr. Josue at mindbrainbody.net, or reach out to me on Facebook, Rewriting Your Future with Dr. Kelly. I am on Instagram, MD Mind Master. I'm on TikTok. The goal is for Black women to thrive. Last thing, I was talking to a loved one. I said, so here's what's going on. After the presidential debate, I know that you are anxious. You are anxious because I was joking, because we may have to drink orange juice. We may have to drink some orange juice January 1st, if you understand what I mean. But the way to thrive, regardless of who wins, is to go deeper into mindfulness, connect your mind, brain, and body. And that's not the only thing. Join with 2 or 3 people in your house, your children. Go deeper into aligning on some core values. If you can align with yourself and you can align with 2 or 3 people, and sometimes we have people around us inside our house, we're not aligning. Everyone's doing their own thing because everyone's mind is everywhere, and that creates conflict. And now we know, in order for you to thrive, for us to thrive, aligned your mind, brain, and body with your core values, and ask the people closest to you, children, partner, friends, can we align together on some core values? Because people don't do what they don't want to do. And by the way, it's unfair to ask people to go with us if you're not aligned. You can't ask me to go with you. I cannot go the distance consciously or unconsciously if we're not aligned on some core values. It's not going to happen. And don't we blaming ourselves. We know now in 21st century, we're all doing our thing and the mind is disconnected from the brain. That that creates conflict, division, friction. The way to thrive beyond what happened, whoever wins the presidential race in the US, whoever becomes in Congress, the way for Black women like you to thrive is to go deeper into mindfulness, align yourself with your core values, and find 2 or 3 people to intentionally, purposefully align with them. And no matter what happens on the outside, it doesn't matter. If you have 2 or 3 people, but that's the main thing. You have to align with yourself and 2 or 3 people. And that way you can thrive beyond your no matter what happened. But we may have to drink some orange juice. We may have to drink some orange juice. It's not because I want to, but after the first presidential debate, so meaning that as a mother, as a Black woman who always worry about the future of your children, the way not to worry, the way to thrive is to align yourself, connect your mind, brain, body 2 or 3 times a day with your core values, and ask your husband, your partner close to you, your children, to intentionally write down, review your core values. That way we can all collaborate and cooperate. I stop blaming people if they don't want to cooperate and collaborate. Sometimes people don't want to align. And sometimes we have to ask them. Hmm. If they don't want to, if you choose to keep the relationship, and that's the other thing, you have to put boundaries with yourself and them. And honestly, sometimes you have to let some relationships go. If they don't align with your core values, they're not going to serve you. So, questions, comments. This is Dr. Kelly's office hour. And every Saturday, I'm going to do that. So, this is for Black women like you who may be stressed out, tired, exhausted, don't feel like you have space to breathe. I am here to help you because we have the brain tools. The Cavalry is here in that form. We have the brain tools. The goal is, the main point is to understand how your brain works so you can thrive in the 21st century, so you can leave a legacy, so you can prevent chronic stress from being detrimental to your life. Okay? So that was multitasking. I hope I was okay. I was doing this on Instagram and Facebook. Okay, guys, if I was not making eye contact, okay, my apology. I am not good at multitasking. So I will see you then next. And please, as far as the focus group, send me the days, the day that you'd like to have the free consult, and 100 to 300 words summary of your specific stresses, the nature of it, how severe, and how urgent you need. You need me to help you. Okay. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. I will see you. Be kind to yourself. Okay. Bye.